My name is Elena. I am 25 years old. I found the hotel key card in my husband's jacket at 2 in the morning. At first, I thought Daniel was cheating on me. The card had a room number written on it. Room 814. My hands started shaking. Daniel was asleep on the couch beside the window, still wearing his work clothes. He looked exhausted. For 3 weeks, he had barely talked to me. He stopped touching me, stopped smiling. Every night, he came home later. I wanted to wake him up immediately, but I didn't. Instead, I stared at the key card again. The hotel name was expensive, too expensive for us. Our electricity bill was already late. The landlord had warned us twice. Yesterday, I secretly sold my necklace to buy groceries. So why did my husband have a hotel room key? Then his phone vibrated on the table. A new message appeared on the screen. Tomorrow night, don't disappoint Mr. Hale again. And suddenly, I realized this was much worse than cheating. Daniel woke up before sunrise. I was still holding the key card in my hand. For a few seconds, he only stared at me. Then his face lost all color. "Where did you get that?" he asked quietly. "In your jacket." He stood up fast. "Elena, listen to me. Are you cheating on me?" The question came out harder than I expected. Daniel looked angry for a second, then ashamed. "No," he said. "I would never do that to you." I wanted to believe him, but the silence between us felt heavy. I showed him the message on his phone. "Who is Mr. Hale?" Daniel sat down slowly and covered his face with both hands. That scared me more than anything. Finally, he spoke. "My company is firing people," he said. "I was supposed to be next." I stayed quiet. Then he looked at me with eyes full of guilt. "My boss said he could save my job." I felt cold suddenly. What does that have to do with a hotel room? Daniel couldn't look at me anymore. Then he whispered the words that changed everything. "He asked for you. I thought Daniel would explain everything immediately, but he stayed silent." The apartment suddenly felt too small. "What do you mean?" he asked for me. I said softly. Daniel walked toward the kitchen window. "He said he could protect my position," he said. "Promotion too." I waited for the rest. "He wants you to spend one night with him." My chest tightened. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Outside, rain hit the window softly. Then I laughed once, not because it was funny, because I couldn't believe this was happening to us. Daniel looked broken already. "I told him no," he said quickly. But something in his voice felt wrong. I stared at the hotel key card again. "Then why did you bring this home?" Daniel froze. That was my answer. Anger rushed through me so fast that my eyes filled with tears. "You actually thought about it?" "Elena, no." I stepped back from him. For weeks, we had been fighting bills together, and now I realized something terrifying. Poverty was changing my husband into someone I didn't recognize anymore. Daniel tried to touch my arm. I pulled away immediately. "I never agreed to it," he said. "But you considered it," I answered. That hurt him. I could see it in his face. For the next 2 days, we barely spoke. Daniel left early for work, came home late. Sometimes I heard him standing outside the apartment door for minutes before coming in, like he was afraid to face me. One night, the electricity finally went out. The whole apartment turned dark. I sat quietly near the window while cars moved below us. Daniel lit a candle and placed it on the table. Neither of us touched dinner. Then he suddenly said, "I was scared." His voice sounded weak. I didn't know how to save us anymore. For the first time in days, I looked directly at him. He looked exhausted, not selfish, just desperate. Then his phone rang, Mr. Hale. Daniel stared at the screen but didn't answer. A few seconds later, another message appeared. "Tomorrow night, final chance." Daniel quickly locked the phone, but I had already read it. The next evening, Daniel told me he was working late, but his eyes avoided mine again. The moment he left, I made my decision. I took the hotel keycard from the drawer and called a taxi. During the ride, my stomach felt sick. Part of me wanted answers. Another part wanted to hurt Daniel the same way he hurt me. The hotel lobby smelled expensive and cold. When I reached room 814, my hand shook before knocking. Mr. Hale opened the door himself. He looked calm, like he had expected me. "I'm glad you came," he said. "I'm not here for you," I replied. He smiled slightly and moved aside. The room was beautiful, wine on the table, city lights everywhere. It made me feel even smaller. "You and your husband are struggling," he said quietly. "I can change that tonight." I crossed my arms tightly. "Why are you doing this?" Mr. Hale walked closer slowly. "Because desperate people always reveal who they truly are." Then the door behind me suddenly opened. Daniel stood there breathing hard, and the moment he saw me inside that room, his face completely broke. "Elena," Daniel said loudly, "let's go." Mr. Hale stayed calm. "She came here herself," he said. Daniel grabbed my hand gently, but I pulled away. "No," I said, "not yet." Both men looked at me. I was tired of feeling powerless, so I looked directly at Daniel. "Did you really think I would do this for money?" Daniel's eyes filled with shame. "I wasn't thinking clearly." Mr. Hale gave a small laugh. "That's what poverty does," he said. "It removes pride first." Something inside Daniel changed after hearing that. For the first time, he looked angry, not at me, at himself. He stepped closer to Mr. Hale. "You think people like us are weak because we need money?" Mr. Hale stayed silent. Daniel took the hotel key card from the table and snapped it in half. Then he looked at me. "I'm done." The next morning, Daniel walked into the office and quit before they could fire him. 3 weeks later, we were both working at a small bakery owned by an old man named Marco Rossi. The pay was terrible, but for the first time in months, we could finally sleep peacefully. The bakery opened before sunrise every day. At first, Daniel and I could barely keep up. My hands burned from the ovens. Daniel carried heavy flour bags until his back hurt. Some nights, we came home too tired to even talk, but slowly things changed. We started laughing again, cooking together, walking home together, sleeping close again. Marco Rossi watched us quietly for months. One morning, he handed Daniel the bakery keys. "I'm getting old," he said.
"You two care about this place more than anyone." 3 years later, the bakery belonged to us. It still wasn't a perfect life, but it was honest. One night, after closing the shop, Daniel held my hand across the counter and smiled. "We really started from nothing," he said softly. I looked around the bakery we built together. Then I remembered that hotel room, and I realized something important. Money can save comfort, but respect saves love.
If you enjoyed this story, comment your thoughts below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more emotional stories like this.